What's up? This is episode 30 of Food and Philosophy. My main man, Khalil Gibran, still working on here. Today I got Ike's. Got a new collab sandwich for the 25th anniversary of the song Hey Now, or of All Star. It says number 1999. Did this in conjunction with my guys at Smash Mouth. Number 1999. Hey Now, You're an All Star. It's got the chicken on there, wasabi mayo, the red pesto, sriracha all mixed together. It's got bacon and pepper jack. I got mine without bacon. And what did I get this on? I got it on Dutch. Now, I have eaten this one pretty recently since I made it with my guys, but dude, this wasabi and the sriracha mix, it's got some bite for it for sure. You can, if you're spice phobe, you can say no sriracha. We will not say no. The wasabi's not spicy at all, but this is. I really like this sandwich. The day I made sandwiches with them, we ate 7 different sandwiches to come to this one. Another good thing about this sandwich is it is really cold. You're like, you don't like to share sandwiches. This one's good, cold. So if you eat half now, I'll save the other half for later, which I do anyway. But this one for sure is good later. Sometimes I eat a nice sandwich. I'm like, damn, am I the sandwich king? Actually, I'm the sandwich ace. Hey, Ike. Are you the most influential person in sandwiches that's ever lived outside of the Earl? Yes, I. All right. Speaking of influential folks. Oh, I got to do my X talk first. I'll defer to myself. All right, what's the topic today? Oh, government services. Holy crap. It's an election cycle, sort of. I guess I answered my own question by saying that. But why? The thing that I'm alluding to is there was a post. Some dude was like, "Oh, I had to take a day off from work and to go to do something." I forgot what they had to get. At the government or with City Hall, and then they were saying they had to take a day off work and had to go, and then the line was a long time, so they basically took literally used personal time off to go PTO to go do some government service thing. And I had this idea a long time ago when I ran for president in 2012. Thank you for your vote, for all 42,000 of you that voted for me. Thank you. You were way smarter and way ahead of your time, and I was also probably an idiot back then. Still probably would have been better than the idiots that we've had since 2012 and a bunch from before 2012. Don't cancel me, please. But I thought back then, it's like, look, the government works for us. Literally, City Hall works for us. And I don't care what city you live in, but that City Hall works for you. And they only work, literally when you work 7 days or 5 days a week, 9 to 5. When the hell are you going to go? When you got to go? If you got to take a day off to go. No, the City Hall and every resource that any government agency has needs to be 24/7. There's no reason why some government worker needs to have Saturday and Sunday off with their bougie ass title and their government job and their pensions and whatever pay they're getting, and they're kind of almost unfireable. No, your ass should be working on Saturday and Sunday. Why? But Ike, they're people too. No, they're not people when they're representing the government. They're literally the government in the moment that they're representing the government. Because if they say you can't have this or you can do that, then it stands, even though they're not the government. So I'm like, why do I have to? Why did this person have to take a day off to go? Why? There's no reason why the government shouldn't be open. I don't know, 10 to 10 at least, 10 to midnight, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m., 7 days a week. You lost your right to a weekend once you started representing the government. Because the government doesn't just stop. They don't not collect your taxes on Saturday and Sunday, right? So why can't you get a service on a Saturday or Sunday? They don't stop collecting anything from you at 5:01 p.m. when you go to the gas station or you go and have payroll. No, so why shouldn't someone be there at 6 p.m. to take whatever thing that you need their permission to do? So anyway, that's my government X talk. Why don't you actually be progressive, city? Yeah, I'm talking to your city. And actually be open when the people need you. People don't need you 9 to 5. They need you outside of that. That's my X talk. And you're freaking welcome. Next time, just vote. Like 40 million people should have voted for me and it would already been this way. But instead, you voted for some guy named Obama. And then after that, you voted for some guy named Trump. And after that, you voted for some guy named Biden. Like, I don't care what your political persuasion is, not better than this guy, right? My shirt even confirms it. Who's the greatest president that's ever lived? Is it Ike? Thank you. And again, I love you, 42,000 or whatever that number was of people that voted for me. I love you. You're beautiful. Tell if you I don't know, can you take pictures of your ballot? If you can prove that you voted for me, I got something for you. I know some people sent me their ballots. I got a surprise for you. It's after the fact, so I didn't buy anybody's vote. This is like literally 10 or 12 years later. So this does not go for the 2024 election. If you vote for me in 2024, I'm not going to give you anything, mainly because it's illegal, but I love you. Fine, government loans or student loans are forgiven, and we're built. Like, what are all the things that people want right now? Oh, does that count as buying your vote? Anyways, all right. Speak to us of pleasure. Oh, speaking of politicians and the government, then a hermit who visited the city once a year came forth and said, "Speak to us of pleasure." And he answered, saying, "Pleasure is a freedom song, but it is not freedom. It is the blossoming of your desires, but it is not their fruit. It is the depth calling unto a height." Oh, I like height. "But it is not the deep nor the high. It is the caged taking wing, but it is not the space encompassed. I, in very truth, pleasure is a freedom song, and I fain would have you sing it with fullness of your heart. Yet I would not have you lose your hearts in the singing. Some of your youth seek pleasure as if it were all, and they are judged and rebuked. I would not judge nor rebuke them. I would have them seek, for they shall find pleasure, but not her alone. 7 are her sisters, and the least of them is more beautiful than pleasure. Have you not heard of the man who is digging in the earth for roots and found a treasure? And some of your elders remember pleasures with regret, like wrongs committed in drunkenness. But regret is the beclouding of the mind, and not its chastisement. They should remember their pleasures with gratitude, as they would the harvest of a summer. Yet if it comforts them to regret, let them be comforted. And there are among you those who are neither young to seek nor old to remember, and in their fear of seeking and remembering, they shun all pleasures, lest they neglect the spirit or offend against it. But even in their foregoing is their pleasure, and thus they too find a treasure, though they dig for roots with quivering hands. But tell me, Who is he that can offend the spirit? Shall the nightingale offend the stillness of the night, or the firefly offend the stars? And shall your flame or your smoke burden the wind? Think you the spirit is a still pool, which you can trouble with a staff? Oftentimes, in denying yourself pleasure, you do but store the desire in the recesses of your being. Who knows but that which seems omitted today waits for tomorrow? Even your body knows its heritage and its rightful need and will not be deceived. And your body is the harp of your soul, and it is yours to bring forth sweet music from it or confused sounds. And now you ask in your heart, how shall we distinguish that which is good in pleasure from that which is not good? Go to your fields, go to your gardens, and you shall learn that it is the pleasure of the bee to gather honey of the flower. But it is also the pleasure of the flower to yield its honey to the bee. For the bee, a flower is a fountain of life, and to the flower, a bee is a messenger of love. And to both bee and flower, the giving and receiving of pleasure is a need and an ecstasy. People of Orphalese, be in your pleasures like the flowers and the bees. Speak to us of pleasure. Pleasure moves us in ways that only it can, or the desire for pleasure, or the seeking of pleasure in ways that only it can. But it is not the flower of the inspiration. One can find what they would like in pleasure, but only just a sliver. The feelings along the way towards the pursuit of your pleasure, the journey, more mirrors your fulfillment than the receiving of whatever pleasure in the end can ever mimic. Even asking for what you would like and answering that question will produce more for your soul than moving towards lower minded pursuits. Seeking pleasure in what you do. What else along the lines? Like, look at a list of your goals right now and look at which ones are like pleasureful. Like, oh, I want to find a mate, or you want money, or what are other ones? Like me, I want to eat this freaking sandwich over here. What else do you find on the path towards the pleasureful things? It was just in Vegas helping the attractive men with their boot camp, their 7-day attraction boot camp. I forget what they call it. But there's a bunch of guys looking to be fulfilled through dating. Not going to judge on that. Some of the guys, not all of them, some of them, 3 or 4 of them, were like, oh, I'm like, they're just players and they want to like sleep with as many people as possible. But even in that journey over the week where the guy was like, oh, I'm just trying to sleep with however many, I don't remember how many he wanted to sleep with in this year. That was his goal. His goal, I want to sleep with X amount of people. But his journey that he's taking, and this is just one example of the journey it is for him to even get that goal. He is growing so much. Yeah, you're like, oh, he's a lower minded guy that just wants to sleep with a whole bunch of people. That's the freaking point. Like, we're all lower minded somewhere in some things, in some aspects of our lives. And the goals that we have are so lower minded that somebody else would judge you just like you're judging this guy. When I said he wants to sleep with as many people as he possibly can, or whatever his number was, you're probably like, oh, and you have your thought. But in the journey, as here Khalil says, you'll find 7 of her sisters, and the least of them is more beautiful than the pleasure that you'll get. So, what are those things? What else do you find on your journeys towards what it is that you would like, besides the actual goal? The universe has factored in literally every single thing. If it exists, it is good. Speaking of pleasure, how do we know it's good? Because it exists, which also means it must be useful. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. Continuously been talking about how everything is the natural order of things, or Mother Nature, or water, or the universe, or God, or physics, or mathematics, or science. Whatever it is that you want to believe in, it's all exactly how it is. But pleasure is not. But we judge those. If it were not useful, if it were not good, it wouldn't exist. Nothing you do or not do can disrupt or distort anything for anyone, anywhere. Nothing you do or not do can disrupt or distort anything for anyone, anywhere. We find a treasure wherever we are on the spectrum of our journeys. We find something on your path towards your goals, on your path towards pleasures, on your path towards what you would like. Which pleasures are the ones that you prefer to find? Is it of connection? Is it of knowledge? Is it of material things? Nothing's wrong. So answer for yourself and do not judge. Our source of pain equals love. Our source of what we would love, what we would like, equals pain. It's the same coin. Whatever's the most important thing to you comes from a bad emotion or feeling that you have, or a feeling of lack. That's the best. I think that's the wisest way to put it. The things that are most important to us, the things that we hold on dear to, underneath it all the way is a lack feeling, which is why it's so important that you have to have it. How do we know? Because you have to have it. If there wasn't a lack, like somebody's like, Ike, your sandwiches suck, or you're never going to be successful, I'd be like, whatever. I don't have to be successful, and my sandwiches don't have to be good to you, because I don't have a lack in that space. But there are certainly some things that some people can text me, or you can say to me, and I'll be like, oh my God, it's so important for that to not be true, or for the opposite to be true, because there's an underlying lack. Our source of pain is where we love. What we love is the source. Like, in there is the pain. Use this as a map, because the universe has factored in everything. Everything exists within us. Everything. Either it's consciously and we're aware of it, like Carl Jung says to do, or it's in a repressed form within us. Regarding the bees. Where are the bees? The concept of procession was introduced to me by Marshall Thurber. And procession goes something like this, and it was reminded to me because the bee and the flower and so bee, bumble, or whatever, flies around and goes down and goes into the flowers and does its thing and goes to get nectar and bring it back so it can make honey. But as a side note, the pollen gets stuck to the bee, and as the bee goes around, he goes around and he's pollinating other flowers and helping this flower that he just ate from propagate its seed, and however that works. I'm not a expert on bees and flowers. Heck, I'm not even an expert on the birds and the bees, but I'm certainly not on the bees and the flowers. But we all know that this is how it goes. Now, the thing is, and that's called the pollinating of all these things, which is why they say bees are important. But the pollination aspect of the bee is a procession of the universe. The bee doesn't care about helping the flower. Well, as far as we know, they don't not conscious of the fact that they're going around and propagating all these other Plants, it's a byproduct. It's the procession of them being selfish and them wanting to get nectar for their queen and for their other drone friends back at the hive. But the procession is that they're pollinating all these plants and helping all these plants propagate and then thus helping us too. So that's procession. So that's the idea. So I'm going to talk about procession for a second. So that type of procession exists in every single action and every single inaction on every single being on the planet. It all animals, all everything. It's not just bees. We have a procession too. There isn't any exceptions to this. So when you're going out, if you're seeking pleasure or you're going out and you're seeking something that other people might be judging you for, there's always procession. And so who knows the benefit that of the whole entire world. There's a quote from The Alchemist, and it says, well, one of the biggest forget Paulo Coelho's exact words, but so I'm going to paraphrase it. He says, everyone is change humanity 1,000 times over, but we'll never know it. It's through procession. Everything has a place and everything has a purpose. And if that's true, then how can we label anything as bad, including the seeking of pleasure? When you give what you love, take whatever you receive. You'll also receive what you love. In the taking of things / receiving of things, the other does receive pleasure too. Like here, if the flower is like, no, I hate it when bees come and get me, they wouldn't get themselves propagated directly, basically. It is only in the giving of what is loved, what is good for you, that it becomes a gift. The bees, if the flowers didn't have anything that the bees wanted, the bees wouldn't go to the flowers. Every time else that you give, aside from what it is that you would like / what it is that you would love, is a false giving. And that means you either gave it out of guilt or shame or something else like that. But then everybody loses when you taint the gift that way. So be in your pleasures like the flowers and the bees, and give and take in the same way. Remember, when life gives and takes from you and it is what you want, great. And if it's not what you would like, even better. Your well-being, like the bees and the flowers, is your greatest contribution to humanity. No exceptions ever. Hey, Ike, are you an all-star? I'm about to eat the paper. Touch you guys.